They're all important. But to me, the one that's the most important is the 10th Amendment. And I can tell you that I am so proud of the Idaho legislature for the actions that they took, for the stand that they took. We have cut our budget by almost 30% in the state of Idaho. Am I proud of that? Am I proud of the education cuts and the health and welfare cuts and all those cuts we had to make? The only pride that I have is that we did what was necessary. We did what we were challenged to do by that sacred document that we all raised our hand and took an oath to defend and to protect. And that's the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Idaho. And so, folks, as we gather, from time to time, there's going to be, you've been disabused. Folks have tried everything on the national media to take away from you your purpose, and don't let them do it. Don't let them do it, because if there's ever a time, and I've heard a lot of folks up here referring to the founders. The founders did a marvelous thing, that miracle of Philadelphia, we call it, which we now live under, the Constitution, or that parts of it which haven't been abused by the United States Congress and the federal government. Those things which we live under today have the same purpose as when the founders put them all together. Right. And I believe that those founders were raised up to perfect that document and perfect this form of government. And if you believe in the republic, and I believe in a republic, I believe in this republic, I would tell you that the first tenet that I look to in that form of government is that it won't work without the rule of law. It will not. Now, you don't like the law, then let's go to work legislatively and change it. You don't like the law, then that's why we have courts, and that's why Idaho was to lead this nation and 19 other states now, including Washington, by the way, into those courts in Florida, and eventually, I'm sure, to the Supreme Court of the United States. That's how you change the law. But if we disregard the rule of law, then, folks, we're going backwards a long way. And I know some of you don't like to hear that, but I think it needs to be said, because the other most important tenet that I find in between the lines of the Constitution is that our nation, our Constitution, these great documents of freedom, will not survive without strength in the home. Without the strength of families, it will not survive. They recognize that the foundation of our government is the family. That's the smallest unit of government, and that's where government should be the most important. And then they said, okay, so now we're going to have local government, the city fathers and the county commissioners and those folks that lead the cities and the local levels of government. And that's where the real strength was supposed to be, so that you run into your government. You know your government on a first-name basis, and you run into them in the grocery store or in the service station or hopefully in church on Sunday. And you know them by their first name. And you talk to them as though they're your neighbors, because they're supposed to be your neighbors. Those other powers that have been assumed undelegated to the federal government, those powers that have been assumed by Congress and by the federal government, we need peacefully, we need through the rule of law to bring those back, to make sure that we assert our rights under the 10th Amendment to the Constitution, that we reassert the spirit. Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution of the United States said that every state is guaranteed a Republican form of government. There was a reason for that. And that reason is still as true today as it was then. From time to time, we're all going to search around for a little more encouragement. Let me offer this one to you. It was written by Thomas Paine, and it was written just before Washington crossed the river, the Delaware River, to go into Trenton to win the first big battle, surprising the Hessians and the British on Christmas Day. Won the first big battle which turned the tide. But not only that, turned the spirit of this country. Thomas Paine wrote, "For us to believe and use today, these are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink in the service of his country, but he that stands it now deserves the love and the thanks of every man and every woman. Tyranny like hell is not easily conquered, yet in that we have this consolation with us, and that is the more difficult the battle, the more glorious the triumph. Those things which we obtain too cheaply, we esteem too lightly. 'Tis dearness only that gives everything its value, and heaven knows how to put a proper price on all its goods. So it would seem strange indeed if so celestial an article as freedom were not highly priced. We're prepared to pay the price." Thank you so much for being here today.